At this hour, a slight improvement in confidence has been noted in South Africa's building industry. That's as the second quarter F&B BER Building Confidence Index has come in at 35 points. It's reported that nearly the entire building value chain, including hardware stores, contractors, subcontractors, architects and quantity surveyors, registered an increase. However, a large number of respondents are still not happy with the current state of business. Senior economist Siphamandla Mkhwanazi speaks to us about this reading. Thank you so much for your time and a good evening to you. First, let's talk through the contributing factors.
Good evening, Tumisang. Thank you for having me. Good evening to your listeners as well. Look, it does appear that the elections played a prominent role in this latest outcome, and its role is in twofold. The first one is that a number of respondents tell us that, especially those that are at the beginning or the starting phases of the building project, so those would be your architects and quantity surveyors, they tell us that a number of their customers employed a wait-and-see approach and put a number of projects on hold in anticipation of the election outcome before they could proceed. So that is the first one. That seems to have quelled demand a little bit in the second quarter. However, it also created this expectation of a pent-up demand post-election, and I think that is what drove a lot of this positive sentiment that we are seeing out of this set of results. Now, I say this because Tumisang, Stats SA last week released GDP data, which actually points to a sector that is actually in deep distress, which is a stark opposite of what the respondents are telling us. So we are seeing this divergence between what the expectation is on the industry vis-a-vis what the actual numbers are currently displaying.
Interesting, because that's a double-sided coin of the narrative, and I'm interested in finding out about the respondents that are saying that the current business climate is not nearly as good enough in terms of a conducive one. What is the expectation now, especially in the near term, with the elections almost out of the way? We are just waiting for the formation of a government.
We are waiting for the formation of the government, but it does appear that in interaction with their customers, they do expect a little bit to come online, a little bit of projects that were put on hold to start filtering through. Of course, that is also dependent on the type of government that is going to be formed and whether it inspires enough confidence for those big projects to come through. Look, it is encouraging that at least directionally sentiment is increasing, but at 35, Tumisang, it is still very low, and compared to the long-term average of around 41, we are still a bit of a distance from where we need to be. And it's not surprising if you look at the actual absolute numbers released by Stats SA last week, which shows that the building industry as a whole is still reeling from a low demand environment.
And that confidence, Siphamandla, do we expect it across the board to include the building sector in the rural as well as township building market? Often we speak of a big infrastructure build at a national level, but not really focusing and honing in on the smaller players.
Yes. So what the survey tries to do is to be as inclusive as possible, so all sectors of the economy. So we are able to glean into what is happening in the informal sector as well by including hardware retailers, or those that would sell to the township shops, to the hardwares in the townships, as well as to capture a little bit of what is happening in the DIY environment. You know that when you have a project, a renovation project, probably going to go to a shop and buy those tiles and anything that you would need. So we do get a sense of what is happening there as well. But you are correct in that a large part of this is swayed by what is happening with the bigger projects that drive the overall infrastructure. But the survey itself tries to cover everyone along the value chain. And I think it was positive this time around that it was almost everyone along the value chain that saw an increase in sentiment, and even that one sector that didn't see an increase was actually flat, and that is those are your manufacturers of hardware material. They are seeing the increase in production there suggests that either they are taking advantage of the relatively abundant energy that we are seeing now and taking this as an opportunity to rebuild their inventory, or that they anticipate that down the line they are going to see a bit stronger demand. So we are able to glean into those nuances.
As a parting shot, with regards to job security, how well does it bode that the industry has this positive confidence?
That is a wild card. On the one hand, you would expect that as sentiment, increases, those market players would start, taking up those projects and employing more people. At the same time, they are complaining about two things when it comes to employment. The first one is, this occurrence of criminal elements around building projects. So your construction mafia are affecting them negatively, and that means that appears to scare off a number of the skilled labor from participating in building projects. So they are saying that they are struggling to access skilled labor, which is impacting on their ability to expand employment.
Thank you so much for your contributions. Mkhwanazi is a senior economist at FNB, talking us through their latest reading when